In this video, I'll be showing you how to effectively organize your final exam preparations with an exam study schedule. Hey guys, it's TassahG here to help you get on track and stay on track. And if you want videos that can help you be more motivated, productive, and successful this semester, get on track with us by hitting subscribe. So today we're continuing our exam prep series. If you're just getting your exam prep started, make sure you check out my video on getting your exam prep started. But for those of you who've already done the preliminary things and now you're ready to start your exam schedule, you're in the right place. Exam prep can be such a roller coaster. 1 minute you have a whole bunch of time, everything's going okay. The next minute you're drowning and pulling all-nighters. Making an exam prep schedule can help you take control of your time. I'm going to be walking you through exactly how I make my exam prep schedule. I use it to stay more organized, avoid being flustered and all over the place during exams, and to stay on top of my work so that I don't have to pull any all-nighters at exam season. So I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you're able to adapt my exam preparation method to your own studies. So let's get started. So in this video, we're focusing on making an actual schedule. In the other videos, we'll have many more tips and more advice on general exam preparation. But as I said, for now, we're focusing on the schedule. So all you need is a printed calendar or a program that you can use to put in the information at specified dates. Some people like to actually draw out a calendar. I like to use a printed calendar, but the most efficient method is to use a program in case it's necessary for you to make changes. The starting point for making my schedule is putting in the dates for my exams. If you don't yet know when your exam is or when your exams are, pick an estimated date. Ensure that that estimate is earlier rather than later than when you expect your exams to be. And when you're following the remaining steps, treat that date as though all your exams are on that particular date. And then you can make adjustments later when you find out when your exams are. The second thing that I do is I count the amount of days before and between each of my exams. I don't count any day that actually has an exam on it, just all those before and between each exam. Then once I have that total, I divide it by the number of courses that I'm doing. So if it's 50 days and 5 courses, that's 10 days for each course. And that number is just a starting point. Next, I make adjustments to that figure according to which subjects are heavier and lighter. So the heavier subjects might get a few extra days, and I might have to take away some days from the lighter subjects. This is a great example of what I talk about in my video on planning the semester, using your weaknesses against yourself. If you think to yourself, I have 50 whole days to prepare for this exam, that will make you more likely to procrastinate and put off starting your exam prep. But if you think of it as, I only have 10 days to prepare for this really difficult subject, that will help you get the ball rolling and make you start working faster. So once I've decided how many days I spend on each course, I put the subjects into particular dates. First, I start off by putting the subjects directly in front of the particular exam. For example, if I have course A on May 2nd, I put a few days before course A to study that only. And if I have course B on May 8th, and I only have 1 day before that exam, then that day will be solely for studying course B. It all really depends on what your schedule will allow, but I like to make sure that I have some dedicated time to study a particular subject right before the exam. After that, I fill the remaining dates, but I don't do it randomly. I think about what I usually do on the particular day of the week, and then I place the subjects in accordingly. So for example, I'm usually free on a Sunday, so Sundays would be for my most difficult subjects, so I could make sure that I have time to dedicate to that. I'm usually much more busy during the week, so weekdays will be for my lighter subjects as much as possible. Dividing up your days like this early on can be very useful because sometimes when you get closer to the exams, you start to get more worried about the heavier subjects and you spend all your time on those and neglect the supposedly lighter subjects. So now all the subjects are in the calendar. This is a very important part. I go back to the syllabus or course outline or whatever overview I have of the particular subject, and I put into the calendar exactly when I'm going to complete each constituent element of that course. I also put in when I want to do review questions or past paper questions. Then, if necessary, I use the carryover method to stay on top of my work. But what I try to do is to complete each day's tasks on that particular day. If I have to stay up a bit late to complete them, then so be it. That way, when my exams actually start, I don't have to be pulling any all-nighters because I've been putting in the work consistently throughout my exam preparation schedule. Another important thing to keep in mind is if your exam prep involves note-making or compiling information, you have to make sure that you leave some time after that for retention and self-evaluation. Organize your plan so that you can avoid having to be making notes right up until the night before your exam. How much time you're going to be able to give yourself to do that really depends on how much time you have left and how much you've been able to prepare up till now. So it's up to you to decide exactly how long that would be. But please, try to give yourself enough time to properly retain the information and also to test yourself. I'll talk about a few more considerations that you can include in another video. I just wanted to make sure I gave you the basics of what you need to create a good exam preparation schedule. If you want to let me know what you want to see next in the series or generally on my channel, or if you have any questions for me, just leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like the video, and until next time, stay on track.